Hello and welcome to Food for You and the Planet, a fresh new podcast that explores healthy and environmentally sustainable food solutions. This podcast is brought to you by Healthy Planet Online Farmers Market. I'm Dr. Rosemary Ostfeld and I'm your host. Together, we'll hear from leaders in environmental science, agriculture, medicine, nutrition, entrepreneurship, and more. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to hear all the latest in healthy and sustainable food with Food for You and the Planet. Today's episode features Elisa Demichelis, Director of the Global North at Slow Food International in Italy. Elisa serves as the Global North Director at Slow Food, where she leads initiatives to promote sustainable food systems and biodiversity in Europe, North America, and the Pacific. With a background in language science and international relations, Elisa has dedicated her career to fostering local food traditions and advocating for food sovereignty. Her leadership at Slow Food emphasizes community engagement, education, and collaboration across borders to achieve a more equitable and sustainable food future. Elisa is passionate about creating synergies between diverse food cultures and advancing the principles of the slow food movement globally. She has been working with Slow Food since 2008, starting serving in the position of Network Coordinator for English-speaking countries, supporting the creation and development of slow food networks, coordinating various projects and initiatives within the territories, and managing their participation in international events. The role then evolved into the Global North Director at Slow Food. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be together with you today.
Wonderful. What is Slow Food International and what types of work does it do?
So Slow Food is a global movement acting together to ensure good, clean, and fair food for everyone. Our mission is to cultivate a worldwide network of local communities and activists working to defend and support the cultural and biological diversity, promote food education, and influence policies both in the public and private sectors. We do believe that we can change the world through food and beverage and create a more sustainable food system at global level.
That's a really important mission. How did you become interested in food and agriculture?
I'm born and raised in the area where Slow Food was born, in Bra, the tiny little village in the Piemonte region. So I've always been exposed to food and agriculture in my area, in my family, and I've been volunteering and working as a volunteer with events and local activations of Slow Food. And then back in 2006, I did had the chance to interact and meet with one of the local communities in which was one of the Presidium that we worked together with. I visited them and I stayed with them as a visitor. And when I returned, I realized that I really wanted to do and create like a career around the support of local food system and promoting them in a good, clean, and fair way, and using food as a way to bring people together, across different cultures, across different languages, and really using my background and skills, not specifically in food, but in languages and relationships, to serve and to help support this mission.
What is the slow food movement? How would you define it?
The slow food movement is a global network of local communities. So we do act as an international and global organization. activating and working together the local communities in the different parts of the world, in trying to promote and support them in changing and creating a better food system at local level, and helping creating like ripple effects in knowing that daily choices made by someone in one corner of the world could have a big impact on communities and systems in other areas of the world as well. We do operate as a network, so our strength is our network of leaders, activists, and communities at local level. And we do serve and we do act as a connector and as a network of all these local communities and activists all over the world, to help create synergies, collaborations, and help brainstorming about ideas and solutions that can be replicated and that can be supported at local, national, regional, and international level as well.
How did Italy become such a critical place for the slow food movement? What makes it the perfect place for this type of work to be done?
Italy, and namely Bra, is the hometown of slow food, where our founder, Carlo Petrini, started everything back in 1986. And history says that, well, slow food springs to life in Rome, actually, in March 1986, when the opening of a fast food restaurant near the Spanish Steps sparked. And that symbolic arrival of globalization and homogenization convinced Carlo Petrini, our founder, to bring together and create a network of like-minded leaders and people who wanted to promote areas, territories, and communities through different lenses. Then in 1989, slow food became an international movement with the signage of the slow food manifesto for the defense of the right to food and pleasure. And since then, slow food started to really create programs, activities, events to promote the good, clean, and fair food system that we all want to promote, in trying to really working together with the local communities at local level, but with always a global and international mindset.
You've talked a bit about the history of Slow Food International. Are there any other key historical moments or things that people should be aware of about its history?
Well, 2004 has been a particularly important year in the history of slow food, since it marked the first edition of Terra Madre. Terra Madre is the biggest and the greatest international event that we do organize still now. And this coming September, from the 26th to the 30th of September, there will be the 20th anniversary of Terra Madre in Turin. The Terra Madre is the largest gathering of food communities, coming together in Turin, in Piedmont, to discuss about the future of food, to share experiences, to learn from other communities, and to really come together to discuss and promote the work and the slow food philosophy across the globe.
How is Slow Food International structured, and how does that influence the way the organization works?
Slow food is a global grassroots movement. So the strength and the real roots of our movement are in our local groups that we call communities and convivia. We have over and more than 2,000 local groups all over the countries. We are present almost everywhere, and these local groups are the really the nodes and the key elements of our network. They do promote and carry out activities and projects to support the slow food philosophy. They organize activities, events, programs, and they do connect at local level the different stakeholders of the food system. Producers, cooks, students, universities, local businesses, in trying to really create a local network of communities that becomes then the global network of local communities that I mentioned before. There are some places where this network is more developed and more structured. So there are countries where we do have territorial offices sustaining and managing activities directly, always with the strong connection and the strong contact with the international headquarters and the international office here in Imbra, where I work and where I'm located.
How does Slow Food International engage with different stakeholders, such as individuals, institutions, and chefs?
We do always, we use a motto that says that we aim and we want to meet people where they are. So we do work and we do rely on local communities and local networks. So our approach is based on dialogue, connections, and synergies with the stakeholders and the people that are already acting at local and at territorial level. So every project that we do implement and that we carry out is developed in collaboration and together with our communities on the ground. So we do work with farmers, producers, fishermen, with food professionals, such as cooks, market owners and developers. We do work with institutions as well, universities, public institutions as well, in really trying to create and encourage the creation of local systems, local food systems that are the key for the development of policies and activities that can have an impact on communities. So the fact that we are a network of local communities is an important aspect of who we are and what we do in trying to really meet the people where they are and trying to target our work and our communications based on the needs and on the challenges, issues, but also the solutions that these same communities are providing and that are sharing.
What is a slow food presidium?
So the Presidium is one of the living examples of our philosophy in action, basically. they are like small-scale food production, so a group of producers that are protecting traditional and artisanal products that are at risk of disappearing for different reasons, because they might be only few producers left of this kind of product, or because the product per se or the technique and the method of production is in danger because it's no longer modern or defined sustainable in terms of economical terms. So Presidium producers are people and producers that are following principles of agroecology, respecting soil, water, animal welfare, and really promoting biodiversity as a key. The Presidia help producers to feel less alone and less isolated in trying to overcome challenges and creating synergies and networks with other like-minded producers, but also working with other stakeholders in the food system, such as the cooks, for example, or even the consumers themselves through markets and through communication. So we do also say that Presidia and the work that we do about biodiversity in general, it's not just about food itself, but it's also about culture. We consider and we promote biodiversity from the holistic perspective of it. So we're looking at the biological diversity, but also the social, cultural diversity of a territory and of the communities themselves. And Presidia are one examples of this kind of work.
Are there other ways that Slow Food International works to preserve biodiversity?
We do have lots of programs and activities that are supporting our work to preserve biodiversity, starting from the research and the catalog of the foods that are in danger of disappearing, but that are also the expression of a territory and of a community. And this is namely the project called the Ark of Taste. We work and we aim to create opportunities of dialogue and exchange between the producers and the consumers through markets, for example. And the Hearth Market, the Slow Food Hearth Market, are indeed one of these projects that we do carry out. But we do also create, and we do also want to work together with the producers in providing and in helping them in getting information and ideas. So we do organize exchanges between producers, but also training opportunities in order to really build and strengthen their capacities and in trying to have a very focused and tailored made approach and work with our community.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the Ark of Taste?
Absolutely. The Ark of Taste is one of the first, or probably the first project and program that was started back in the days by Slow Food to promote biodiversity. As the Ark of Taste is a catalog of cultural and traditional foods and products. So it all started by mapping out and identifying this thousands of breeds, plant varieties, traditional food products that were, and should feature and characterize a territory and a community from a cultural, social, and production perspective. So the Ark of Taste is this living catalog that is constantly updated. So it's a project that is always on the go, as it starts from the identification at local level of these products and these communities.
What are some of the ways Slow Food International works with activists to shape policy?
Our work on advocacy is the most recent work that we have started to do. We have been working to influence first of all, to inform, involve, and engage with individuals and communities to become much more aware of the power that they have and the actions that they can take to make their voice heard, and be also means of education and of eye-opening for the public institution and the private business sectors to really reshift the models that are supporting and that are now leading the market. So our work is to create alliances also with other like-minded organizations that are fighting for similar goals, and also creating local projects and activities at local level that can really support good, clean, and fair and regenerative systems that are resilient and that are an important source of income and pride for the local communities.
What are ways the average person can help support the slow food movement?
We, as a network, we do work with thousands of activists at local level. So the first way to be engaged with slow food is to become, to join our movement and be part of one of our local groups and in communities, which will be the first step in getting to know what kind of activities have already been developed in the area, and in areas where there is not a local group already existing, maybe there is a way to form and create a community by themselves and be part and create and be the first ones to really carry out the work and be engaged with slow food at local level.
What are some of the most exciting slow food movement examples of producers and local food systems that you have found the most inspiring?
We have thousands of stories and thousands of slow food heroes that over the years have really helped and supported the work that we do. One of the stories that I would like to share with you today is the story of our president, Eddie Mukibi from Uganda. He has been involved in our network in Africa and in Uganda since we started working with our project called the Gardens in Africa, the Slow Food Gardens in Africa project. So he was one of the leaders of our projects in Uganda. He's an agronomist, and he helped us train and identify farmers back in the days and back in 2012. And over the years, his work in Africa has become much more and more prominent, and he helped us train, identify new leaders in Africa, and in 2020 and 22, at our last international congress, he has been voted, and he has become the new international president of Slow Food, supported in a really strong way by our founder Carlo Petrini. So his story of a producer and delegates to Terra Madre and leaders at local level has really been inspiring and really compelling to see how a young person and a young professional can help shape and transform the local food system, but also the global food system.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I would like to share that the work that we are doing as Slow Food is continuously evolving, and we have lots of ideas, and we have still lots to do to improve and change the food system, and we need the help of everyone, especially because the sense of urgency and the sense of need to act now, to do and to make something to change the system is really is really urgent. So I think that now more than ever, we need to really be united in our goals and objective to create and counteract the impact of the industrial food system and create systems at local level that can have an impact at the international and global level as well.
Thank you so much for joining the podcast today, Elisa, and thank you for your commitment to slow food. Really appreciate all the work you're doing.
Thanks for having me, and it has been a pleasure to share our work with you all today.